Dear students, in this video I am going to discuss on the topic dual nature of matter, which is the first unit of modern physics. Your paper 5 PHC 307. Dual nature of matter. The matter has got dual nature. It is wave nature as well as the particle nature, which was proposed later. Before that, let us discuss on the theories of physics, earlier theory and the modern theory. The theory before 19th century is called the classical theory, and the theory evolved after 19th century is the new theory called as the modern theory, or the physics based on that is called the modern physics. The earlier theory is classical physics. Then the properties of the matter, or it is explained by assuming certain laws, and the explanations were given for the particles or objects of macroscopic state. So classical theory is based on the laws such as Newton's laws of motion, Newton's universal law of gravitation, etc. But this classical theory failed to explain certain phenomena like the atomic spectrum, the spectrum exhibited by atoms of the elements, photoelectric effect, Compton effect, specific heat of solids. All those things were not explained by the classical theory. So later a new branch was evolved in the field of physics. Then the theory evolved, tried to explain the objects or the particles of the microscopic nature, or it is applied to the microscopic particles. And this new theory evolved in the 19th century. It is called as the quantum mechanics. This quantum mechanics was proposed by Max Planck in 1900. So 1900, in that century or in the 20th century, a new era started in the field of physics. That physics is called the modern physics. In quantum mechanics, Max Planck assumed that radiations, they consist of particles, and he called those particles as photons. The particles are also called as quanta. And he applied this theory mainly to explain the energy distribution of a black body. There, in the theory, he assumed that a black body, the cavity of the black body, the atoms in the cavity of the black body, they behave like oscillators, tiny oscillators. And each atom oscillates with its own characteristic frequency. And the atoms, they can absorb the energy of the same frequency also. They emit the energy of the same frequency, or they may absorb the energy of the same frequency. By assuming this, he made certain assumptions also. There are two assumptions of this theory. The theory applied to explain the energy distribution of a black body. The first one is the oscillating atoms. They oscillate with a definite set of energy given by E is equal to NH nu. Each atom vibrates with a definite set of energy E is equal to NH nu, where N is an integer 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. H is nothing but Planck's constant, 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. Nu, the frequency of that oscillator or the atom, it is vibrating. So energy depends on the frequency of oscillation. This is the first assumption. The second assumption is how this energy of the oscillator changes. The change in energy of the oscillator. The energy of the oscillator changes only when that oscillator jumps to another energy state. The oscillator, it may move from lower energy state to higher energy state, or it may jump from higher state to lower energy state. In both the cases, there is change in energy. And these two are the assumptions made in the theory proposed by Max Planck in 1900. And this theory, using this theory, let us now explain the effect called as photoelectric effect. This is one of the phenomena explained on the basis of this quantum mechanics, or on the basis of this Planck's quantum theory. The phenomenon is photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect is the phenomena observed in metals. Whenever certain radiations they incident on the surface of a metal, the emission of electrons from the metal surface was observed. This phenomenon is called photoelectric effect. The radiation is incident on the metal surface, there will be ejection of electrons. The emitted electrons from the metal, they come out of the metal surface. The ejected electrons are called as the photoelectrons, and these electrons, when they move, they constitute the current called photoelectric current, and this is photoelectric effect. This photoelectric effect was discovered by Heinrich Hertz in 1887. And one more fact observed was, so in order to emit electrons from the metal surface, the incident radiation, it should possess certain minimum energy. Say in a metal, inside the metal, the electrons are free to move everywhere there. So we call them as the free electrons. Those electrons, even though they are the free electrons, they are not free to come out of the metal surface. In order to bring them out of the metal surface, we need the radiation of minimum energy. That minimum energy of the incident radiation required to emit electrons from the metal surface is called as the work function. Work function denoted as phi. Work function, minimum amount of energy required to eject electrons from the metal surface. It is the work function, and different metals will have different work functions depending on the different wavelengths incident on them. So different metals will have different work functions. This is photoelectric effect. This was studied experimentally by him using this experimental setup. See, this is the experimental setup used at that time to study the photoelectric effect. The setup consists of an evacuated glass tube. K is the cathode, A is the anode plate. K and A are the two metal plates. One is cathode, other one is anode. Cathode is connected to the negative terminal of a battery. Anode connected to the positive terminal through a micro emitter. This was the setup used, and then it is also provided with this setup is provided with a side window or side tube, provided with the quartz window. Through this, the radiations they incident on this metal surface, that is a cathode. Cathode is a negative plate, negatively maintained, rich in electrons. So whenever radiation incident on the cathode, if the energy of incident radiation is more than the work function, in that case electrons are emitted. Anode is maintained at the positive potential. It is maintained the positive potential, so that all the electrons are attracted towards the anode, they move towards the anode, and this motion constitutes the photoelectric current registered by this micro emitter. This was the setup used to observe this photoelectric effect experimentally. Here, this cathode K is coated with the photosensitive material. This K is a metal plate coated with a photosensitive material. The material which is sensitive to the incident radiation. Then only there will be ejection of electrons. This is the setup used. From this experiment, so many facts are observed. These are the results of that experiment conducted to verify photoelectric effect in metals. The first fact is photoelectric effect was found to be instantaneous. The process was found to be instantaneous. This is the first fact observed, or the first result of this experiment. Process was instantaneous, meaning there is no the time lag between the incidence of the radiation and emission of electrons was found to be very, very small, of the order of 10 power minus 9 seconds. The time lag was so small, that's why the process was treated as instantaneous. It is called as instantaneous. The second result is, it is observed that in the experiment, it is observed that a minimum frequency is required for the radiation to eject electrons from the metal surface used. A minimum frequency was required. A radiation having minimum frequency was required. Then only there was photoelectric emission. That minimum frequency required for the photoelectric emission is called as the threshold frequency. Threshold frequency, minimum frequency of the incident radiation to eject electrons from the metal surface to bring out this photoelectric effect. And we denote this threshold frequency by the symbol nu naught. It is denoted as nu naught. That is threshold frequency. The frequency, if the frequency of the incident radiation is less than this threshold frequency, there is no photo emission. Frequency should be minimum nu naught and should be above nu naught. Then only there will be photo emission. And one more factor connected with this is threshold wavelength, denoted as lambda naught. Lambda naught, threshold wavelength, nothing but the maximum wavelength above which there is no photo emission. Lambda naught, threshold wavelength, is the maximum wavelength above which there is no photo emission. The third result of the experiment is when the frequency of the incident radiation is above the threshold frequency. See, that's the required condition. Frequency should be more than threshold frequency. When the frequency is above the threshold frequency, photoelectric current is found to be directly proportional to the intensity of the incident radiation. That means, as the intensity of the incident radiation increases, the photoelectric current also increases, and this increase in photoelectric current is independent of the frequency. But frequency should be above the threshold frequency, and then only there will be a photo emission. But that increase of photoelectric current depends only on the intensity of the incident radiation. It increases with increase in intensity. This is the third result observed. One more result is about the maximum kinetic energy of the ejected electron. So when there is a minimum frequency for the incident radiation, then the electrons are just emitted. If the frequency of the incident radiation is more than, very much more than the threshold frequency, then the ejected electrons, they move with more and more kinetic energy. It's observed that the maximum kinetic energy carried by the electron depends on the frequency of the incident radiation. I repeat, the maximum kinetic energy carried by the electrons depends on the frequency of the incident radiation. It is independent of intensity. Whatever may be the intensity of the incident radiation, it does not affect the kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy carried by the electrons. Maximum kinetic energy depends only on the frequency of the incident radiation. And one more result is, see here, suppose a negative, see now in the experiment, the plate A, anode is maintained at positive potential. It's maintained at positive potential, then only it collects electrons. Suppose a negative potential is given to the anode, and as we go on increasing the negative potential of the plate A, then slowly the electrons reaching the plate A goes on decreasing, and finally at one particular negative potential, the flow of electrons to the anode completely stops. That negative potential applied to the plate A blocks completely the electrons reaching the plate A. And that minimum potential at which electrons reaching the plate A is completely stopped is called as stopping potential. And at that stopping potential, the electrons will have maximum kinetic energy, but they do not reach the plate only. So that the kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy of those photoelectrons is given by E into Vs, where Vs is nothing but the stopping potential applied to the plate A. E charge of the electron. And we know that kinetic energy is nothing but half m V square here. Kinetic energy maximum means velocity of the moving electrons, maximum, so that this relation is also holds good. And these are the experimentally observed facts of photoelectric effect. And in the next video, I am going to explain how these factors were explained using Planck's quantum theory. The explanation is given by Einstein using Planck's quantum theory. So with this, I stop here. Thank you.